Welcome to my personal collection of autographed memorabilia and other kind of memorabilia. Starting off with Alabama, signed by all four members, the original members. Up here, Kid Rock when he was dating Pam Anderson. Over here, early one from Tanya Tucker. One here signed from Paul Simon. Let's go over here. This one right here was signed by Matthew McConaughey and actually personalized. Let me see if I can get a little closer where you can see the autograph. Okay, let's go into the next room. This one is signed by Eddie Money. And over here is some cool stuff. This is a Mr. Potato Head collection featuring Get Up from Kiss. Some memorabilia from the Rocky Horror Picture Show. These are quite rare. And these are from Kiss, the original four members. These were done approximately 2002. Okay, let's go over and check out some more stuff. This is given to a friend of mine. It was a plate with Sgt. Pepper look on it. And basically this is me that they done at Universal. Okay, let's go over here. This one was personalized from a friend of mine. His name's Tommy Thayer. And it was about the time that he joined Kiss, around 2002. This is signed by all four members. Let me get some light on. This might be a little better. Okay, let's see if that's a little better there. Here's one signed by Mick Jagger. Right here, Don Henley. This one is the Ted version of The Who, which is Roger Daltrey, Pete Townsend, and John Entwistle before he died. That was done at the Concert for New York. This one is signed by Michael Jackson. This one is signed by Madonna. Over here we have another one signed by Matthew McConaughey. This one was purchased. Over here is an album I had signed in person. It wasn't ELO, but they called themselves The Orchestra, and two of the original members were in it. This is kind of my pride and joy right here. This is signed by 11 of the biggest known singers out there. Now this is based back in the past. Now show you the names that's on there. And a little bit more on the autographs. And this one is by Rod Stewart, Phil Collins, Ringo Starr, and Carly Simon. Over here is a guitar, which I haven't had a chance to open to show you yet, but it's actually signed by Paul Stanley. Let's go over here on this wall. This was signed in person by Davy Jones, and that was just before he died. This is signed in person by Mickey Dolenz, also of the Monkees. Over here, this is signed by Billy Joel. This one is actually personalized by John Travolta. And this one here, I was lucky to get a hold of, is an unused ticket to the Woodstock Festival of 1969. Over here is one that I got through the mail that is signed to me by Elton John. Over here, here's another one through the mail that got signed personally to me from Jimmy Buffett. Here's another one that's hand signed by Mick Jagger. And this one is Robin Williams. Real nice guy. He actually gave me 3 autographs. This is one of them. Now, this is a band I met called the Bangles. Now, the only thing that's actually signed is what you're seeing right here, but I do have other signed items from them. Right here, this is signed by a group called Cheap Trick. Let's see if I get a little closer shot there so you can see it better. Okey-doke. Okay, over here, try to keep the glare down a little bit. This is by a 60s group called Paul Revere and the Raider, which actually featured Darren Medley, Bill Medley's son. Now, this here is actually signed by Peter Noone of Herman's Hermits, and this actually is signed by the original 4 members of the Bangles. One personalized to me from B.J. Thomas. This one right here is by Tom Petty. This was signed in person. Actually, the drummer took it backstage and they all signed it for me. Loverboy. Now here's the big one. The King. Elvis Presley. Let me just go back up where you can see the whole thing. Now, this one I purchased it. Got a really good deal on. And let me get where you can see the autograph good. Hopefully you can see it from there. Also, here's another big one that I got. This is from Paul McCartney. This one, I believe, was signed about 2001 when they did the concert for New York. And get a better thing here of the signatures and stuff. Okay, let's go and look at some more stuff. This one is not really hand signed, but I thought it was pretty cool. But that was the day that I met Bill Graham of Foreigner. Over here, these are signed posters from movies. This one back here, see if I can get back enough where you can see it. The first one is signed by Robert Rodriguez, and the second one is signed by Quentin Tarantino. Okay, let's go over here. And this is kind of cool little thing. Back in the past, they actually did weird things with records, and this was one of them. They shaped it was red, and they shaped it like a heart. I don't know too many that was made like that. And here's a couple that's around about the time I was born. Purple People Eater, I think, was the hit song when I was born. So that's the reason I have it hanging on my wall. Over here is the big 3, I think. Is you got Elvis, you got the Beatles, and you got the Rolling Stones. Now, this is something that I got that it's hard to find because it was a promotion for a concert I went to with Jimmy Buffett. It was basically a flyer that was very rare. Okay, let's go to the next room. Okay, and this one is signed by 2 members of Aerosmith. This down here was actually the set list used by Steve Miller himself. Actually got some footprints on it. This was when he played Cypress Gardens, which is no longer in existence. Okay, let's check out some more stuff. Now, this is kind of a pride and joy for me, meeting Alan Parsons. The whole band signed this album for me. This one was hand signed by Taylor Swift. Now here's another one It was signed by Jimmy Buffett. This was a set list from the Beach Boys when they played Cypress Gardens. This was hand signed by Janet Jackson. And right here is another thing signed by Cheap Trick. And these were actually given to me by Kenny Rogers. Some of my memorabilia are in books like this, so it's kind of hard to show them. I actually have made a personalized plate because I used to go to a lot of Jimmy Buffett concerts, and this is my personalized plate. Everybody wants it, but it's mine. Up here, I don't know if you can see it or not, but it's Ann and Nancy Wilson of Heart that they signed. This is Dennis DeYoung, formerly of Styx, who's doing a successful solo career. The original drummer of the Beatles was Pete Best. And hopefully the glare's not covering it up too bad. Okay, this is signed by a group called the New Cars, which was two members of the original Cars, Todd Rundgren, a member of the Tubes, and I'm not sure about the other. Over here, this is Sheryl Crow, and this one was actually signed in front of me on stage by Mike Love. Over here, I actually met the niece of Steven Tyler of Aerosmith, and she sent this to me in the mail. The hat was actually Steven Tyler's fishing hat. He'd ball his hair up and he'd go fishing. Nobody'd recognize him. But you can't wear it. It's got cat hairs in it. Unfortunately, cats got into it. Over here, this is signed in front of me from the Village People. I met them on several occasions. They're really nice guys. Right down here is Mickey Mantle. I'm not much into sports, but I just happened to get it. Over here is another Bengal signed album. Now, I don't know if you can see it too good or not, but I'm going to try. Right over here are set lists that I got from shows that I went to. One was the Stones and one was Paul McCartney. Let's go over here. Now, that is Cher, hand signed, Mariah Carey. Over there, this actually I won in a contest from Max FM, and it was Peter Max, the actual Peter Max, and he personalized it to me. This is signed by the Moody Blues. Over here, this is actually signed. Now, I was actually backstage with them, and this was signed by all the members of Three Dog Night. This is a promotional poster for Mariah Carey, and this is something. When I went to the Stones, this was a promotional poster. When I went to see Weird Al Yankovic, I was a VIP, and I had a signed lithograph, and that's that one. Now, this is another Bengal product here, and it's hand signed. Okay, and that's that. Now we're going to go to another room. Oh, before I do, here's something that I actually found at an estate sale. This is something that's signed by Frank Springer. He used to work with a guy named Stan Lee, who done all the superhero comics and stuff. That was how they did their comics back then. Okay, let's go into the final room here. And here's a little something I found from Don Knotts. And I've seen Pat Benatar a couple times, and this is hand signed by Pat and Neil Giraldo. And this is kind of a favorite poster of me and my mother's. It's called the Rocky Horror Picture Show. This was done this poster's from the year 2000. Over here, this was personalized to me from Michael McDonald when he played in Avon Park. Also, when I went to see Three Dog Night, they signed this album as well, so they did a couple albums for me. And this is just kind of cool. It's a clock from the Ramones. So this is part one of my autograph and memorabilia collection. I hope you enjoyed.